Trustee Lamach,
Here.
Trustee Brown,
Excused.
Mayor Pro Tem March,
Here.
Mayor Kreitz,
Here.
Trustee Mahan,
Here.
Trustee Taveldi,
Here.
Trustee Padilla.
Excused. Thank you. Let's stand and join each other in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Right, I do not believe we have any changes to our agenda,
No.
correct? Okay, and we do have special presentations, but perhaps, Brian, would you help us introduce just an update from the PD?
Yes. Mayor and members of the board, we do have Sergeant Austin here, who is our canine sergeant, and we just thought it'd be a good idea just to give a quick update as what's going on with our wonderful dog.
Yay.
Good evening. Dobby's here as well. Just a quick update. So as of over the last year, Dobby had 33 deployments, which makes a total of 89 since we started the program back up. And then he's associated with 4 arrests in the last year, total of 12 since the program stood back up, including 2 physical apprehensions, one previous year and one this year. And then this year, so far, he's been involved with 11 demonstrations, whether it be at town events or schools and whatnot. A couple highlights for Dobby is he's been able to assist the Longmont SWAT team recently and getting some training in there. And then I'm sure you all saw last summer, we had a donation from a gal who ran a lemonade stand all summer and was able to raise some money to get him some extra equipment and toys mainly. So, and then in total, over the past year, he's had logged 432 training hours, so 890 over since the program stood back up. So, it's really the biggest update. He's doing well. We're getting calls when we can. And, I think most recently we were out in Fort Lupton helping them search for a burglary suspect. So.
Wow.
Were you successful?
We were not. Unfortunately, there was a great delay in us getting out there, so we were about half an hour behind, and not a lot of cops to set up a perimeter for them. So,
Yeah, thank you for the updates.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You said that he's doing well. I mean, is there anything that we can do to help you or Dobby or the program in any way?
nope, we're just get the word out there that we're available for calls.
Yeah, I appreciate seeing you both at events and the community, knowing that Dobby is a community dog.
Yeah.
That's helpful. I think there's that perception that, we should be fearful of him. So.
Yeah. Yep, that's why we picked Dobby, because he was approachable. We're not dealing with some of the problems other places are, so we're able to pick a dog that's social and be able to come out to those events. So it's good.
How
Yeah.
often? Excuse me. How often do you get called out to other communities? You said you went to Longmont SWAT and in Fort Lupton.
Yeah, we've been as far north as Johnstown for some narcotic sniffs. Fort Lupton, Longmont, Dacono for Firestone. That's really about it, I think.
Urban Valley.
Actually, we did go all the way out to where was it? I forget. Pretty far north one day for a good domestic violence suspect. Helped Greeley K9 was out there as well, and we helped them. So.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing the program back and leading it very well. It's nice to see.
Thanks, Sergeant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
What else?
Good day in the life.
That's great.
It's fantastic. Okay. Let's see, we have Michelle for the St. Vrain Valley Schools Education Foundation Community Funding Request. Michelle, will you join us at the podium, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and Megan, thank you so much. And I was here about a year ago, and I did not need reading glasses, so yeah. Thanks, Angela. Thank you so much for having me here at the town of Frederick. Really appreciate the time. My name is Michelle Phelan. I am the St. Vrain Valley Schools Education Foundation Community Liaison, which means I am part community outreach and part business development. As the foundation, we work to help the school district supplement them with needs, teacher grants, student scholarships. We do programs for our teachers. We also do innovation grants through STEM. We do a lot of things to help supplement the St. Vrain Valley School District. So we work with all communities. We work with Lyons, we work with Erie, we work with Niwot, Longmont, Frederick, and Firestone. So as well as Meade. So not just Frederick, but we work with all the communities. We're excited to work with the district. We're excited to work with each of our communities. So I'm here today to talk about a program called Crayons to Calculator St. Vrain Valley. It's a school supply distribution program. This year, it is ensuring that over 4,700 students in the entire school district receive school supplies that they need for a successful and strong academic year. Those students are students that could not otherwise purchase school supplies and have them because they can't even afford to buy maybe their daily essentials with their families. So many families at St. Vrain Valley Schools struggle with back to school expenses for their children. If they're facing a difficult decision or a trade-off like buying groceries or the daily essentials I just mentioned, it can be very difficult. It's very strenuous on a student to go to school not knowing what they're going to eat and maybe not having that new notebook or a set of crayons with them. So what we do is we're going to ensure that every student has access to school supplies. We want it to be equitable in the classrooms across all grade levels. That's preschool all the way through 12th grade. Crayons to Calculator St. Vrain Valley provides age-appropriate school supplies. So we're going to provide with them backpacks, headphones or earbuds for our older students, as well as all the supplies that they need. If that student's facing a financial hardship, or maybe it's not a financial hardship within the schools, maybe they know something's going on with that family, we don't ask questions, we're just there to help. And this is where we need help from our community, because basically school supplies, you can spend up to $100 for a backpack and all the school supplies that's required. Right now in St. Vrain Valley School District, 32% of all students live at or near poverty level, and that's really difficult. They go without their essentials. So for our students in need, really, a backpack filled with school supplies is more than just a backpack. It really gives them the confidence. It's powerful to them. It helps them with their self-esteem, makes them feel good. And they want to sit with their other students and they want to feel good about what they're doing and what they're learning. So we're going to provide those supplies to them. We're going to work with our communities. Right now here in Frederick and in the surrounding areas, you have about 10 schools that reach this community to reach these students that you work with. The schools around here need a total of 495 backpacks. How we get these numbers from our schools is we reach out to all the schools. We don't just come up with a number. We don't look at numbers. We know they're there. They're good gauges for us to use, but we go to every individual school. So yes, I email every single secretary at every single school across the district. That's 58 emails, by the way. So with that, I ask them, what is your need? What do your students need? So in this area in Frederick, the surrounding areas that you serve, 495 students are in need, and we want to help them with that. We're so excited to reach out to our community. We do work with grants from other organizations. We work with sponsors, businesses, and organizations. And I can tell you right now, some of our top sponsors from businesses are right here from this community, right here in the Frederick area. So not just organizations from specific cities, they want to reach out to all the communities. So we're very excited to work with them. With that, I'm asking and requesting $1,000 to help supply school supplies for our students. I do want you to know that what we receive, it is specific to Frederick, but the impact is all across the 7 communities that I mentioned that are here within St. Vrain Valley School District. If over 30% have a need, that means there's a third just right here in the community. So 495 may not reflect exact numbers, but I asked every single school, what do you need and how can I help? We're excited to work with our partners, sponsors and organizations, civic organizations, to come and help us volunteer and pack those backpacks. So right now we're sitting in a middle school gym, no air conditioning. From 1 to 3, I think we barely made it to 2:30 today. And they're packing those backpacks. And people are saying, well, the supplies are here, Michelle, we're done. No, we're not. As you know, it is a continuous process to have funds to continue to pay for those supplies and keep this program going. So if you're wondering to yourselves, okay, that's a lot of backpacks, but let me just give you some numbers I might not have shared with you last year. If I need that many backpacks and school supplies, I am trying to receive over 4,400 folders to get to every student. If I need things like binders, how many binders do I need? That's for your older students, 821 binders. And here's the thing, pencils. We may be STEM oriented, we may be a lot of electronics, but our kids still need pencils. I'm ordering over 45,000 pencils that we have to bundle and put in backpacks. With that, you're asking me, well, where are the days where you used to bring me a box, Michelle, and I would ask everybody to come drop off supplies? Well, a year called 2020 ended that. I had nowhere to drop off boxes, so I don't do school supply drives. But then as we came out of it, we said, hey, your dollar buys 1 notebook. I'm buying 5,000 notebooks. I can buy 3 in wholesale. So we are working directly with a wholesale vendor, and so we're purchasing those supplies to make that happen. But we still are using our volunteers. They're still helping us to kind of sort through that packet, put it on pallets, and we are going to get it to all 10 schools that this Frederick community impacts. So I just respectfully request support for Crayons to Calculator St. Vrain through the St. Vrain Valley Schools Education Foundation. Do you have any questions, members, or anyone from the audience?
Very thorough, thank you.
All right. I brought numbers. When I looked at the boxes of pencils and folders, they're on pallets. There's over 50 pallets. You know, when you go through the backside of Walmart, you see the giant pallets that come up almost up to your nose. There's over 50 pallets of just school supplies that sit in a gym. And we have to open every box, weed through it, and sort through it. It's very humbling. And something I want to share with the audience and with the council, the number of students that come and help me, and I'm not talking just, you know, they need their honors hours or they need their scout hours. There's more students than there has ever been last year and this year. And I had somebody from an organization come up and they're like, what are all these students doing here? I was like, we grow our own in these communities. We're making our leaders. And these kids sit next to the kids that have that financial need and they want to help. Don't get me wrong, I sign off on a lot of National Honor Society hours and Scout hours, but we have so many students helping us. And I applaud our communities and I applaud the town of Frederick for helping our communities and our schools.
Very well said, thank you. All right, you have a $1,000 request board. Do you have some direction on that, please?
Mayor Kreitz, I'd like to recommend approving the funding request from St. Vrain Valley Schools Education Foundation for $1,000.
Second.
Trustee Tevaldi?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March?
Yes.
Trustee Mahan?
Yes.
Trustee Lamach?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Megan.
Yes.
Thank you very so much. You're always so gracious. Appreciate all you do.
Well, thank you. Very helpful to hear all of that information. Thank you. We now have Robin with the Carbon Valley Help Center Empty Bowls Community Funding Request. Hi.
Used to
That's
have
the
my
same thing.
sidekick Frankie with me, but
That's okay.
she was at the Rotary Club at 7 this morning,
Oh.
so I said I'll do the 7 at night.
Great.
So together some numbers today. Is that making noise or is that just my ears?
Been fine.
Okay. So in 2022, I just had the numbers for the three towns, Tacona, Frederick, and Firestone. We assisted 1,100 people with our food pantry, 15,836 pounds of food. And we also made 93 grants, utilities, rent, mortgage, occasionally some auto repair, for a total of 52,300. Already in the second quarter of 2023, it's much busier. So it's good that we're getting ready for this fundraiser because we're going to need it. We've already had 830 people. That was compared to 1,100 for the whole year last year. 12,444 pounds of food and 75 grants for 41,000. Last year it was a total of 52,000. So if we project ahead based on the first two quarters, we're going to have 500 more people and 10,000 more pounds of food needed for the food pantry. And we're going to need another 41,000. So it'll be 57 more grants and 30,000 more dollars to get through the rest of 2023. So our fundraiser, I think we sent the paperwork to Megan. Did Frankie give you all the different forms?
I believe I have.
Okay, good. So I think the top one this year is 2,500, which is what I filled out the request for. However, the very top one on our list is 3,000. So feel free to go ahead and go over the 2,500 if you're so inclined. We have had a lot of people that are suffering from long COVID, and that means that they can't work as many hours as they would have been able to work before. So they miss work, so they get behind with their bills. And we've also had a lot of people who, they have jobs, but depending on what the industry is, they don't have enough hours. They can't work enough hours in their chosen field or wherever they have a job to pay all the bills. Those are the things that we're seeing. Rents have gone up, food has gone up, as you guys all know. And there's a lot of seniors that we see, and I don't know where they're supposed to come up with the difference, unless Social Security increases their benefit or they get a roommate, which sometimes isn't the safest thing to do. So we're just trying to work through that with all those people that come into us for help. So we're going to have an ice cream social. It's going to have toppings. Last year, Frankie had a really hard time finding enough restaurants that were able to afford to make the soup for our usual thing that we used to have, our lunch. But we still have the bowls. People have been painting bowls like crazy. So if you buy a ticket for the fundraiser, you'll go in and have an ice cream sundae and lots of toppings. There's other desserts and things too. I think they're going to have a cakewalk, which I haven't been to since I was like in elementary school. Frankie's idea, just for something fun to do. And we'll have music and the silent auction, of course. So we're just hoping that you guys will be on board with us to be a sponsor and help us out with all these people that need help. Do you guys have any questions?
The cost of the event itself, do you have a total number on what that usually costs?
Oh, for the cost. I did not bring that with me. I think
I see 5,800 for the event itself. Is that correct?
that was based on last year's.
Last year's.
So yeah, the nice thing is, probably the most expensive thing is paying for the place,
Right.
for the high school, and they also have to have a supervisor there, because we use the kitchen. So that's the most expensive piece. Printing hasn't been ultra expensive in the past. And then everybody volunteers. So that's probably accurate within a couple $100.
Looks like you all have operated very lean in the past. So
Yeah.
My wife and I attended last year and enjoyed
Well, good.
the event. And we were wondering, I never got it answered, is I know volunteers paint the bowls? for you, or?
We have people that hold bowl painting parties. So sometimes it's a business, sometimes it's like my mom's having one, you know. They just have friends, people like to paint. A lady from True Pace, I don't know if you guys know them, they're in Lafayette and they take seniors that are living in their homes, but to have them socialize and have access to doctors and meals, they take them to Lafayette to their building. Anyway, they had a bowl painting party and she said they loved it. They had the best time. The senior center's having a bowl painting party, so just people in our community that feel artistic, I guess, or
Thank you.
some that don't, but they want to. It's a way that they can participate. So, and we're glad that you came. Thank you. Last year, the science guy was very popular, but he went on to another job now, so he's not available, which is sad.
Very lovely event, so thank you. Thank you for sharing, a little bit about what you're going through. I think the Carbon Valley and certainly the town of Frederick is experiencing some of those hardships. So appreciate that you're there for them.
It's just crazy how much it's. This is the first time we've depleted the fund, so yeah. We need
I'm
help.
sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're there. Thank you. Some direction from the board, please.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to recommend approval of $2,500 for the Carbon Valley Help Center.
Second.
Trustee Mayhem?
Yes.
Trustee Lamont?
Yes.
Trustee Tavelli?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
It's like a sauna in here right now.
Is it
It's so hot in here.
in this
In
room?
this room, you're wearing a cardigan. I can't believe you right now. Yes.
I thought of putting a jacket on. I thought it was getting kind of chilly.
You might be unwell, my friend.
Jury
What's
room.
wrong? It's you. You're the problem. It's you. All right. Let's see. We'll go into public comment. This portion of the agenda is provided to allow members of our audience to provide comments to the town board. Please sign in and I will call you. I don't believe we have any members signed up at current, so we'll move right into staff reports. Please, Brian.
Yes, Mayor and members of the board, a couple of things tonight in the staff report that I want to have covered and some of our team members are going to cover. First thing is just, again, a huge thank you for everybody that helped out with Frederick and Fly, in particular, Renee, Jessica, Angela, Zach, our intern. They did a phenomenal job. It was a great event. A lot of people from all over the area and the Denver metro area. So just kudos to them. The parks team, the public works team are always there doing a great job and really just positive interactions with all of the public. So thank you to them. Just a reminder, next week we do have our community tour and talk on Wednesday, July 19th. We'll have more information sent to you in email in terms of what the main topics are in that, as well as chainsaws and chuck wagons begin that night and goes to the 22nd. So with that, I'm also asked Tim to come and give an update. In your packet, you've seen some information particular to the golf course, and ask him to come and give some highlights and just an update to you as we've been working through this process for many months.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. It's been a little while since I've been able to speak to you. I'm here to let you know we've survived the golf season up till now. So it's been kind of a crazy year. The transition of the restaurant to the grab and go has been definitely been a challenge. We started that process Memorial Day weekend. That was our first weekend to kind of start to figure things out. So I feel like we've come a long way since then to now. We've brought some staff on to help us with bartending. We had the beverage cart out now on the golf course. Our first real month of restaurant revenue, I guess we'll still call that, which is basically we're doing hot dogs, brats, pretzels, breakfast burritos, and still doing the same drinks that we did in the past. I think we're around $12,000 in revenue for that, which I feel pretty good about. Obviously, you compare that to what we did that month the year prior. When we had full service restaurant, it looks like we took a great big hit to revenue. But when we look at the expenses related to that revenue, I think you're all going to be pretty happy with how that looks. So we worked a lot of hours. I worked about 3 weeks straight from that day forward. I've started taking days off again, which getting some hikes in, and the race is this weekend, so I'm going to go do that this weekend. But so we work really hard to get to where we're at. The team that we have has really embraced what we're trying to do. And everybody that works there has been cross-trained. Everybody that works in the pro shop, that is, has learned to do something in the restaurant, warming up food, making hot dogs, making drinks. Everybody's been tips trained that's worked there now. So anybody that comes on now will be tips trained as they come on as part of their training to make sure that we're compliant with the Colorado liquor laws. Also watching closely that our food requirement, which is to provide full meals, and that 25% of our sales overall has to be in food. So I'm monitoring that carefully just to make sure that we're compliant there so we don't have any issues there. Okay. As the golf side of it, this year has been a little bit of a whirlwind. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at just some of the rough numbers that we've had for this year. The numbers provided that were in your packet were May year to date. So weather, if you've been around town here or in Metro Denver for that matter, you've seen the weather has been terrible for golf or for anything else that you're trying to do outside. So we've had 69 non-playable golf days this year. 69. Okay, so we follow the National Golf Foundation kind of provides some parameters for a playable golf day. So there's some temperature minimums that you don't have precipitation in a day, things like that. So we can then take those days and measure if we're down in revenue or if we're up in revenue for that matter. Is it related to weather or is it related to something else that we're doing or what we're not doing? So 82 days this year, we have not allowed carts out. So as we talked about in years past, we really don't have concrete cart paths all the way around. We don't want people getting stuck in the mud out there in golf carts. So when the course is too wet, we make that call first thing in the morning. We drive the course, look at it. If there's standing water, we just don't let carts out. So a typical no cart day on a decent day will cost us about $1,000 in cart fees when we do not let carts out. Okay, so you couple that with 69 non-playable golf days. Then you look at our revenue, as is in the packet as well, from 2022 to 2023. In golf revenue, we've increased by $26,700. Okay, so when you look at those factors, when weather has been kind of a killer, June is going to be pretty flat compared to last year. I've already kind of looked at June. It's not on here. But still, even June to be flat with last year, weather was decent last year in June, that we are way ahead of the game as it relates to golf. So what this shows, golf is continuing to grow. I feel like our staff's doing a great job in maintaining the people that we already have and growing the business. Our annual pass business is growing. Our golf outings are growing. We're doing more range events. We have a range event there tonight by Remax. They rent the range for the night. They buy drinks. They invite people out. So we're doing a lot more things like that are getting more people out and increasing the revenue and keeping that restaurant side and the bar side going for us. Junior golf program, as there's some pictures in there that are just some fun pictures to look at. That program continues to grow. I'm doing a class this week. We've got about 27 kids in the class this week. It's a beginner golf class. So again, I feel like junior golf is the key to our future success. So we do everything we can to do the best job we can, but we're also thinking ahead of what can we do to make sure that we're sustainable moving forward and we continue to grow. When you look at our tee time occupancy over the course of the last couple of years, which is also on the sheet here, just through this year, we're at about 45%. So that means 45% of our available tee time inventory that we have 45% of that is being utilized or being booked. And when you look at years past, I always like to look at that first year number, which was 15% for the entire year. And we're at 45% as it stands today. So feel really good about that. Also, that means 100% is completely utilized. So that means we still have some room to grow. Okay. So yeah, that's about all I have. Anybody have any questions for me?
Get course feedback from people in the clubhouse and stuff about what the grab and go and the little changes. I mean, overall, are people pretty happy with everything?
So, I mean, we still have people that come in and sit down at a table and they think we're still open. So we'll explain to them, you know, what's going on, and we'll give them the option. Hey, if you want to stay and have a burrito, we can do that. I think early on it was really, really tough because people were getting extremely upset with our pro shop staff because that was just the first person that they saw coming in, and we'd have families of people that would come in and we'd say, sorry, we're closed, and they get really upset. That's gotten a lot easier, since we moved forward. But I think the golfers appreciate it. We still have people that ask. Probably the biggest question now is, when are you going to open the restaurant back up? And we explain this is the level of service that we're currently offering. We may add a little bit, we may change a little bit, but this is kind of life as we know it.
Yeah, I think that's an important component. You mentioned early on that the team that you have now is supportive of that, and that's the goal, right? Is to right size the revenue track for the golf course and support and elevate the course itself and make sure the experience for golf is what it could be, right? That's really important because, and I appreciate that you have so many kind of gatekeepers to that conversation that have to have those tough conversations with disgruntled community members or disappointed. But it's really important that we remain positive and share why behind this. And not that you need to go into a full financial conversation, but I already see so many positive things in your, just in the finances alone. And hopefully you'll start to see, and your staff will see, the time that you'll now be able to commit to golf, which is great, right? So I really appreciate that you're supporting your staff in that narrative, because I think it's important for our community to see them okay and happy and doing a job that they like. Yeah, so thank you. I think that's pretty critical. And that's a really big turtle.
It is a big turtle.
Impressive,
We had a very large, about a 6-foot bull snake go through the middle of the junior class today. So
Nice.
didn't get a picture of that though.
Dang it.
Yeah.
That's something else, yeah. I love all the pictures.
We didn't name it.
It's nothing in Nebraska.
Maybe have
Yeah, we gotta figure
a
that one out.
contest. Then.
Like, yeah, he's your mascot, or she. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you tell?
I don't know. I don't want to get involved in that.
I don't either.
I don't want to get involved.
The other thing I didn't mention was the event cancellations that we've had due to the weather. So the first couples event that we had was canceled due to weather. The first glow ball event we had was canceled due to weather, and the first women's night out was canceled due to weather. So the glow ball we were able to carry over the very next week, which is a little bit of a challenge when you have 72 people that have already signed up, they've already paid, to get them to commit, then to try to do it another week. So we had 72 that first week. I think we ended up with 60 the very next week. So, but we at least got that first one in.
Yeah.
It's tough when you're like the couples event. It's pouring rain at 4:45. It starts at 5, and we've got to figure out,
And did you have to provide catering for that too?
Yes.
Yeah. From them. Yeah. Well,
My next question is, how's the catering going for the other events and that? I mean, is it any problems, any issues, or?
The catering, so when the RFP went out, Georgia Boys could do the majority of the dates Peel could do, I think, one date, I want to say. The service from Georgia Boys, and it is expensive, but it's been outstanding as far as the service goes. Food's been good, service has been great. They come, set it up, serve it. Golfers are really happy with that. They'd like to see that for every event that we do, which at that price, it's a little, we'd have to reevaluate the whole entry fee price. We've, committed to that since everything's been published and marketed for those prices. We're just kind of going with that for this year. If we were to continue that relationship, we just need to reevaluate what our fees are going to be to make sure that we're covering costs.
When you hear from golfers or guests on the course itself, I mean, how similar are the requests for the coursework, if you want to call it that, to what we've talked about the past few years? Is it the cart paths? Is it green maintenance? Like, what is the feedback you're hearing on what's desired for the course itself?
So I would just say overall conditions. So from all of your playing areas, which I think are the most important. A lot of people spend time in the non-playing areas, which are like the waist-high grass. We're not going to worry about that part of the golf course too much, but this year has been, we started off probably had the toughest winter for conditions. And I was really, really worried about how things were going to come out of winter, which they came out of winter not good at all. The rain and some of the seeding and everything that we've done, we got a greens roller. Conditions now are as good as we've seen them in a long time. So it's been great for me because I've gotten, the complaints I'm getting now are, the rough's too long and they're hitting it off. And I mean, yeah, we've had 15 inches of rain or whatever it's been. So the rough and the grass is as lush as can be. The golf ball sits down in it. It's hard to get your ball out of there when you're in there. So, but I think overall, had we not had the wet spring that we had, you really see that irrigation system downfall that we've had. And then the cart pass, obviously, but we don't want to put the cart pass in knowing that we may be doing irrigation work too. I know we've talked about that in the past. So, but I think just overall conditions, the speed of the greens being more consistent, which the greens roller that we got this year was probably the best $5,000 we've spent. We use that about 3 times a week now, which they mow the greens and then they roll it. If we have a tournament, we roll the greens going one way and then roll them the other way to get the speed up. So our men's club would be the most vocal with me about conditions, and the only complaint I've had from the men's club is the no cart days. They'd like to take carts out every day.
Okay. Okay.
And we just explained that, we don't want to, bring in $1,000 of revenue and then cause $10,000 worth of damage to the golf course.
Very helpful information. How are you doing? You said you can take some days now. Yes?
Kind of. I've got camp this week, don't have camp next week, and then camp 2 weeks in a row the last week of July. And then pretty much in the clear after that. So
My question is, when you take time away from the golf course, do you go golfing?
no.
No.
No. I go as far as I can into the mountains and
Yeah.
hike about 5 miles if I can.
It's helpful.
I don't watch golf or think about golf when I'm not there.
You truly disconnect from golf. Good. Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate this update. You all have any questions? These updates? Yeah, these are helpful. Let's let's keep analyzing the financial side, and please help us understand as we go the feedback you're getting, because this year probably is an anomaly on the rain. So we're going to have to make some of those financial decisions this year. I know you will with your team, but just instead of just once a year talking about it at budget, we'd love to know. We just want to know how to be supportive of the amenity, because we truly want to partner with you to make it everything it can be. So
I'm happy to spend as much time as I need to communicate, what we're doing and like I said, I'm proud of what we've done and what the team's done, and just know that taking the grab and go operation on like we did this year there's been a lot of mistakes made by all of us, and especially me, and just trying to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work, and it can change by the day. So,
Yeah.
But we learn from it and get better moving forward. So.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for the time.
Of course. Thank you for everything you and your team do. We appreciate it. It's helpful updates. Thank you. I lost my spot. Do you have any other pieces of presentation within your report?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Any questions then on Brian's report? Just reviewing it to make sure I didn't have any other notes.
It's part of the meeting.
Youth comb. I've not heard any, but if you all have questions, comments, or concerns, please share that during trustee reports. We can come back around to it if we need to. And Megan's report was via email, so if there's any questions, comments on that report, now would be a good time for that. None? Great.
Thank you for getting us this so early. It was very successful.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I was
amazing.
gonna
It
comment
enabled me to
on
read it
from-
twice because I already forgot what I had read when you sent it by the time it was time for the meeting. So it really set into my brain. Sorry.
That's nice to know. I will say, at CML, one of the sessions, someone asked, it was a mayor's mingle, and one of the mayors said, "How do you get your board to read their packet?" And one of the mayors said, "I just shame them in public if they don't read their packet, and I know it, and I just call on them." And then this other, yeah, it was super awkward and
Wow.
really uncomfortable. And then this other mayor was very sweet. She said, I don't do any of that. I don't publicly shame anyone. I just I send them the packet and reminders to read the packet every day. And I said, every day? And she said, every day. She just like that. I was like, oh, wow.
Wow.
It's a thing. Yeah. So that was Megan every day, just helping you read it in advance. Well done.
It's gonna take a little getting used to, but it's great.
Yeah, it's nice.
Thank you.
The real benefit is you're sending it early enough that I can look and go, holy crap, it's 270 pages.
Amen.
They're starting early on that.
I'll try to warn you in the email too.
Yeah.
Just FYI, this is a long one or this is a short one. So
It's helpful.
I have a question for you. I was just looking, I couldn't remember when it was I sent this, but it was on June the 29th, I sent you, or June the 30th, I sent you an email about the criminal cases for the last 6 months.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to look through that yet, or just curiosity if we've had an increase?
So I did a preliminary look. So Mayor Pro Tem's question was, there's a little bit of a discrepancy between number of criminal cases filed in May as opposed to in June. So I chatted a little bit with Emily, who transitioned out of the court but was the court clerk at the time. It's my understanding that that discrepancy is due to a physical altercation that happened at the high school. And when individuals are involved in that physical altercation, the officer cites all involved in the physical altercation. And then as far as numbers from last year, I have asked court staff to pull those. And we have everything from June to the end of the year, but with the transition, we didn't pull numbers for the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And so you're looking specifically for that first half. So I want to make sure you get good numbers for that. And we're working on getting that to you.
Okay, that's great. That's all I had. I figured there was something that hung it up, so yeah, that's great.
And I think you'll see the criminal cases go down a little bit because we are not in session with school right now. And
Yeah.
so We have really good SROs who make sure they're taking care of business over there. So I'm sure you'll see an uptick in filings again, probably in September. But right now, I expect it to be a little quiet.
Well, that was my next question. I was just going to ask if we see it, if it's history that we see a little bit of an increase in the criminal cases when school kicks in. So
We definitely do. A lot of juvenile criminal filings. You're gonna see your physical altercations, which don't happen that often, but many minor in possession and things like that. And Jason could probably speak to it from a prosecution standpoint of kind of what he is seeing as well. But I think our school resource officers do a really good job of education and really trying to work with young people before they move them through the criminal process.
great.
Just to add, the propensity and likeliness of getting caught with those things that they're not allowed to have doesn't happen during the summer nearly as often. But every jurisdiction everywhere I've worked has kind of ebbs and flows as certain seasons. We don't really do a lot of dog at large tickets here, but I remember when I was in Fort Morgan, you could tell the docket just based off of what time of year it was when the dogs start running. When it's cold, the dogs don't run from home.
Yeah.
Similar with these criminal episodes. And we've had some instances at some town events where we've had a group of juveniles. I think last summer we had one of those, and so we didn't see those cases until October, given the length of when the incident happens versus when they're arraigned. But you have a town event that you get teenagers at that make poor choices, and you end up with 5 or 6 citations out of one incident. And
I just was, I've had questions asked of me of how our courts are doing criminally and so forth. We've seen increases in criminal activity because of the general increase in other criminal activities you read about and see around the area. One of them, of course, is the car thefts and things like that. So I was just kind of curious if our courts have been experiencing anything like that. So
The majority of our criminal docket is juvenile. I think if we had something of that magnitude, Chief's team would probably write that into county, just because of the monetary amount. It may not qualify for a misdemeanor or be able to be written into our court. It would have to go into district court.
well,
I would invite the board. We have court on Thursday.
Yeah.
And we have 2 trials scheduled, and I would invite you to come and kind of see the new process here and our new court clerk and all of that.
this Thursday?
Yep, our docket starts at 8:30, so we'd invite you guys to come and see what happens.
All right.
in here.
Yeah, right here in the boardroom.
you guys would have to take your seat in the audience.
No, we can't set up
This is
here.
going to be reserved.
You don't get to meet the assistant clerk.
Yes.
Well, it said today, but
Yeah, you'd be able. If she came
she was.
early, but yeah, I'll make sure she does come to the next time we introduce all staff as well. But yeah, anytime you're welcome to come by and say hello. She's a great asset to the team.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. That's the only thing I had.
Megan, would you mind sharing the feedback that you got from the Youth Commission that you shared with me?
So on Friday, Jason, Anthony Bixby, myself, and Trustee Padilla were fortunate enough to interview 3 young people for the Youth Commission. And I had shared with Mayor Kreitz, as we were sort of talking about events, that something that has come up routinely from pretty much all of the applicants that we've seen is that they love the Town of Frederick events, but they would love to be a part of a youth-geared event or a section of an event that is geared towards young people. And they mentioned ages from high school, but they also mentioned elementary. And all of them had a passion for the Youth Commission driving a youth event in the community and providing opportunities for their fellow Carbon Valley residents to have a place that they can gather together and enjoy some fun. So, some feedback we got, because I know this board has been talking about, should we add another event? What could that look like? There may be some horsepower there in the youth commission to accomplish that.
Yeah, thank you. And support for a space, it sounds like.
Yes, and that actually was brought up as well. It'd be great to have a place that they could go and be, particularly in the summer.
We talked about with kind of the interview panel, not necessarily with the youth, but being strategic in working with the board as to helping provide a framework or lay out ideas that you'd like them to vet or provide feedback for. So our understanding, the last youth commission kind of fell apart because it turned into nothing more than an events planning group. And so left to their own devices, they might not know what to do with themselves. But if the board has specific issues, park questions or whatever it might be, and so the reason I bring it up so you can start percolating on what that might look like, so that the board can then provide specific direction, like we'd like feedback on this issue, or we'd like you to really dig into this idea, or whatever it may be, so that we can provide them somewhat of a framework of stuff to do in addition to some of what was just discussed, so that it doesn't just devolve into we're planning an event once a year, what's the point of participating as rigorously as we might want.
I think the trend too in the applications is a hunger from these young people to have a voice, and a hunger to be actively involved in their community and advocate for their fellow youth in the community. And so, you see that reflected in their applications, you see that reflected in their interviews. And so, we're almost there with 50% fill. So we have the 2 you've already appointed. I'm bringing 3 more forward at the next meeting. We have 3 waiting in the wings to interview. So we're getting really close to having enough to start doing some good.
Love that. So how would you recommend we start that framework? Is it just a discussion at some point between staff and board on just here's the overall things we'd appreciate feedback and understanding in?
Right. So, a pattern you could consider, I sit on some of the state legislative things for the state of Colorado, and they have the elected body will come together, they'll have a meeting, they'll come up with a framework of what they want these task forces to look at, and then they assign it. And that's very, very formal, not suggesting that we necessarily have to do something to that level, but whether you have that discussion with them in the room, or if it's more convenient or conducive with your time to have a work session or a portion of a meeting where you say, hey, here's some of the things that I've been thinking about. We can have Anthony in attendance because he's our staff liaison to jot down all of those things, and then take it to the youth commission to say, hey, in addition to creating our bylaws, which is one of the first orders of business, in addition to what we already know to be very abundantly true of what they'd like to see at events or discussing those issues, here's the list of other things that the board would like us to tackle, and then have them lay out the framework of how they're going to do it.
Okay, I respect that. So first, once we fill the positions over the next few months, maybe that first step is to schedule some time with them, between the board and them. I think collaboration is always a good idea. So I think we owe them some time, right?
Right, I think that would be
Absolutely.
great.
We'll start there. We'll schedule some joint time together, please, if you don't mind helping us do that. That would be great. And then certainly maybe there's a discussion at that meeting on how often they maybe want to present to us as a board. Find some ways to discuss that. That would be helpful. Thank you. Yes. Okay, any other questions on admin report or town clerk's report? Nothing. Okay. All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and vote. There will be no separate discussion of consent agenda items unless a board member so requests, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered at the end of the consent agenda. We have a series of items. Would anyone like to remove anything or provide some direction on the consent agenda, please?
Okay. Madam Mayor, I'd like to recommend approval of the consent agenda as is.
Second?
Trustee Lamont,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem March,
Yes.
Trustee Taveldi,
Yes.
Trustee Mahan.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Yeah, thank you. All right, trustee reports. Anyone want to start us off? Mayor Pro Tem, please.
A couple of weeks ago, as you all know, I sat on the St. Vrain Sanitation District Board of Directors, and St. Vrain Sanitation District got involved in a bit of a legal hassle with the town of Firestone. Now, this legal hassle is centered around some wells that they wished to drill on our property where our sewer plant is, over by the St. Vrain River. And them drilling the wells there, if they drill the wells and they drop them down the way they wanted to, originally it was supposed to be 2 wells straight down, and now they want to do horizontal wells. The difference between a vertical and a horizontal well is the vertical well is a pipe like a straw that goes down however deep it is. Horizontal well goes down and then turns and then goes horizontally so that you can get more water out of the area. Trouble is that the area that they want to do this in is an area where we're pretty sure that sometime in the next 4 to 5 years we're going to have to use it as a cooling area for the effluent out of the plant. The new EPA rules and regulations say that effluent out of a sewer treatment plant has to be a certain temperature and can't be any warmer than that. So it has to be allowed to cool before it's put into the river, in this case, the St. Vrain River. If we do these wells, we're not going to have that area for further expansion, and we just spent almost $14 million on expanding our sewer treatment plant that we have there right now. And if we would have to look at actually moving the plant to another area, it would just be incredibly cost ineffective, and it's going to create other issues, not only for Frederick, but for everyone that the St. Vrain Sanitation District services. I sent you a copy of the letter this letter, and I just got it to all you guys so you can see it. I didn't send it and I didn't realize it didn't go out. My email didn't go out until just a few seconds ago, so my apologies for that. I wasn't on purpose. I didn't realize it didn't go out. So anyway, the point is what we are asking is we have gone to all the communities that St. Vrain Valley Sanitation District services and have asked that they send their elected officials compose and send a letter to the town of Firestone asking them to remove us from a court case, a water court case that they're going to go to court in, so that if there is a ruling against us, it could actually cost hundreds of millions of dollars in the long run to all of the customers within St. Vrain Sanitation District. We have tried repeatedly and successfully in dealing with the town of Firestone to get this thing resolved, and they've refused to even talk to us about it and so forth. So this is what we've resorted to, and to add a little bit of confusion even more, I don't understand why this is this way. There was a letter that I sent it to Brian so he could see it, from their mayor, who didn't know that this was even going on. So I am asking, the St. Vrain Sanitation District is asking for a letter from the town of Frederick's elected officials asking Firestone to remove us from their water court case so we can go on and we don't have to worry about this, and we don't have to pass possibly hundreds of millions of dollars of cost to all the other communities that we serve. So that's what this is about. This came around, just to give you a little bit more background on this. We sent 2 of our board of directors to their trustee meeting last week, and they were on the agenda. Right before they got in there, they pulled them from the agenda, and they had to try to talk to their board, as a guest speaker for 3 minutes. So they split it so that each director got to talk as fast as they could for 3 minutes to them, and then they tabled the issue and didn't do anything about it after we spoke to them. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to ask, as I say, help from the other communities that this could affect, to try to convince Firestone to remove us from this water court case. So that's why we've come to you.
Yeah. Okay, that's helpful to understand. I think we might be in a little bit of a pickle because, you know, we happen to have the largest change case in the state in which Firestone has the ability to support or not. So this could be a bit of a challenge for us. Yes, I'm assuming.
In the big picture of things, we are currently an objector in this case already as an entity for other reasons. We talked with our water council as to what can we do within our legal rights within that case to kind of help highlight this issue. It's not really dry reading. It's not necessarily something that we would, as a party status, have a claim in. That doesn't suggest that we can't be involved in other ways as suggested this evening. In terms of, you are correct, we do have our own case outstanding in which Firestone is an objector as well. And then beyond that, they have an additional case that's still in its infancy, and potentially other future ones. So the unfortunate reality is there could be quite a bit of tit for tat going on for years between our entities if we can't learn to get along. But in terms of what we've talked about as staff in these discussions with our water council is, you know, we don't know that there's much left to lose in regards to the relationship.
You said it. I did not say that out loud. You said it.
Very diplomatic.
Second.
Go.
Motion carried.
We made those representations on your behalf based off of what we believed, and so this is a good confirmation that that's likely true.
And our council will be providing it. They got a copy of the St. Vrain email that was sent out, I believe, from
That was from Rob and the board of directors.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Jennifer has it.
Jennifer has
Okay,
that.
okay.
They'll be utilizing that as they provide comments into that case. It just isn't up. We have been working to the extent possible that we can with Firestone and getting comments back and forth. There has been movement, but not substantial movement from them. With acknowledging our comments in regards to their case
Sure.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
So
So really, what does St. Vrain have a recommendation, or really do they truly think a letter objecting this is really going to help?
Our council seems to think, Catherine Tallarico, she seems to think, and Matt, I can't remember Matt's last name, she and Matt seem to think that yes, it may help, because we are convinced that the root of the whole issue with Firestone is their mayor, and probably even the board, doesn't even know how much is involved in this entire thing. So they think that if we get communities, all of the communities that will, you know, basically say the same thing, because if we lose, if we end up going to that court case and we end up losing, it's going to hurt a lot more than just Frederick. So they seem to, the other communities seem to think that it will work, and so do our council.
Okay.
Our-
Okay, so a potential response is with Jennifer Delala right now and water team. Yes?
We're
Yeah.
currently in the throes of briefing the trial because it is later this month, in the next 2 weeks or so. The hope and what we've been working for the last several months is to try to get us, the town as an entity, settled out after we get our issues resolved. Without getting so far into the weeds, they still have several objectors that have yet to be satisfied, and so the likelihood of this heading to trial is quite high at this point. How we're approaching this rather than delaying our trial prep any further.
And in regards to the email, I'll forward it to the board as well. There seems to be, like what you're saying, Mayor Pro Tem March, there's a disconnect between the staff and the trustees in Firestone. And what it alludes in this email is to if you feel so inclined to reach out to any of the, it lists each of the trustees individually
Yep.
with their individual emails, to just shoot them an email of, and there's even some suggested language in there. So I think it sounds like more of the effort is to try to get the board plugged into what's really going on.
Yeah.
My only concern is if we do send a letter from the town, it would probably need to go to the board to ensure that the board gets it, as opposed to it going to the staff and not having that communicated upwards.
No, the letter to Firestone himself would have to go to the board and their mayor,
Yeah.
not the staff, just the board and their mayor.
Yeah, I do see them listed, but the same thing applies to us.
Yep.
Right, especially if we're gonna send a unified letter. Can we, I know this is time sensitive, but right now, staff and the water team have what they're working through. Timeline wise, can they respond to us and share over the next 2 weeks-ish what a possible response could look like, if any?
We go to court, this case that we're involved in, that they pulled us into, goes to court, it's either the 24th or the 27th of
Okay.
this month.
Okay. Okay.
The week of the 24th, and it's slated currently to go through the end of
Yeah, list.
August 10th. 3 weeks of trial potentially, and that's because the issues have yet to be narrowed.
Yeah.
Usually when you have a water court case, you have objectors on the front end, you work with them, resolve concerns, and then you dismiss people out as you go, but there's still a significant number of outstanding issues, not only between St. Vrain and the town of Frederick, but also with the city of Boulder, city of Lafayette, I believe, as well. There might be a couple of others, but
Well, I know this letter that we sent went out to Dakoto, us, Longmont, Meade, parts of Platteville, and some of the unincorporated areas also. So there were a number of communities that this went out to asking for help. So
Well,
anyway,
and my recommendation is not to say that Frederick shouldn't support it. I just want to make sure that, I appreciate that we should be good strategic partners for St. Vrain, but we have to protect Frederick.
protect ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, number one. So let's ensure we're doing that. And please let us know. It sounds like it is somewhat time sensitive, so if you can visit with the team, that would be helpful.
Just let me know so I can pass it on to the board.
Okay.
I would appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you
Wish
for.
this wouldn't have happened, but
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear. I'm sorry to hear that, but probably better that you all know now, right?
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing.
thank you.
Any other items?
That's all I have.
Other trustee reports?
I just have a couple of comments. I also wanted to second what Trustee Tavelli had said about the agenda. It was great getting the agenda early, and I was able to read it 3-4 times and then come back through and get it today again and review it. It was nice to be able to come up and think about it and not be rushed.
We're all saying that just so you don't send us it every day.
Also, you guys,
So
the
you get a
packet was
message all your-
41 pages.
You can message all your mail
And you
friends.
guys need to read it twice? What the heck? That's funny to me.
Oh,
Well, that's funny. You should read it twice when it's 900 pages. That's when you read it twice.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we read those long.
Give me some kudos.
You know what else it does too? It gives you a reason to keep looking at these more often for a longer period of time. So if there's other things going on that you don't want to be involved with, you can say, "Oh, I can't do that. I
I gotta read my packet.
read my packet.
Yeah.
Gotta go over it again."
Yeah. Things you don't hear every day. That's amazing.
Public service is calling.
Yes,
I
there you
gotta
go.
read my packet.
Huh?
I don't think that would go over well in my home.
Oh, we are so much cooler than people give us credit for.
That's right.
Yep.
We are.
The other thing I
Somebody
wanted
to
to
go,
comment
I gotta
on
read my packet.
was the app. I had an opportunity to use the new app on the phone this weekend, and I was talking to Brian about a situation where weeds were up high, and while I was on the phone with Brian, I said, wait a minute, why don't I just try the app?
Yeah.
And it worked very well. I mean, it was easy to use, and I got a response from Colby within 15 minutes. And I just wanted to say congratulations to the staff and the staff that put that together. It was great. So,
Really is. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
next level.
that's it. Thank you.
Pretty impressive too. I showed
Yeah.
my
No
neighbors.
more agenda comments.
Can you, as a team, can you set up filters then on the app to like have certain people streamline to your mailbox faster?
I'm sure you could. You
The answer should be no.
No, we-
Yeah, no.
off too.
No. Just kidding. Great, it looks very nice.
Yeah, like I said, I showed my neighbor this thing
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, he was really impressed. He's a young man. He's, wow, that's really great.
Yeah.
None of the other towns have anything like that. Nope,
Yeah.
nope. Just
Yeah.
us.
I'm very strict. My 11-year-old doesn't have access to a lot of technology because I am in cybersecurity. And so she tried to convince me the other day that she's been asking for certain apps for a very long time. And I'm very restrictive on things like that. But she said, well, can I have the Town of Frederick app? Yes, that app you could have. So you were her first app, people.
Awesome.
It's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. Yeah. Anything over here?
Mine was just the ring thing, like we're supposed to leave a message, and I don't know, we were supposed to get another email, but I don't know. I mean, do I need to do something there, or?
On Ring Central, you mean?
I'm gonna talk to IT and see, there has to be a function in the system that I can get in there, because all of you are experiencing that where you have to forward the email to me, but I think the time frame is really short because every time I get it, it won't let me in to set your voicemails up. So I'm gonna work with IT to see if we can figure that out. So to be continued, don't stress about it.
But it's still sending you all like a transcript of the message. Are you all not getting that? Okay, I at least have that.
It's not even set up. But it won't let me administratively go in and get that. So I need to just dig into it a little bit, and I will do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
Tells me that nobody
That's to make
cares
handwritten
about you, they don't
Nobody's
leave
calling
any
you.
messages, so you should just shut up and sit down.
Yeah, just don't even worry.
Here's the message to you,
Yeah, there you go.
You got that call too.
just with the little thing there.
Nice.
It was an emoji, yeah, with a little poop symbol right behind it.
Yeah,
It really hurt my feelings.
Man. Got anything?
No.
No? All right. You all have anything? Covered everything you need to? We meet again on the 25th.
We need to want to talk next week.
Yep. Chainsaws and chuck wagons. It
So-
sounds like there's still volunteer shifts open for that, but I think Fred Way will not have the booth time, correct? So feel free to volunteer still, just sign up.
Is there really anything, because I have to leave town on Friday, but is there much really on Thursday that I could do to contribute?
Yes. Angela says yes. Yep.
Auction.
So I'm here for Thursday and Thursday night, but then Friday I gotta go out of town.
Yeah, it'd be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get you a plaid shirt with the arms sleeves
Yeah.
cut off.
Perfect.
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Do we get the wood chips if we get them?
I do, yeah. This is a new trend you're setting.
Let my beard
Just
grow.
dressing us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of
We
that
get
crap.
hats with mullets.
I like it.
Chew.
Yeah.
Get some
Spittoons.
seeds.
Overalls. Yeah, fun. It's going to be great.
Chaps. I think they actually wear chaps.
No.
I think we're going to adjourn. And with that, strike that from the record.
Gotta keep those chainsaws away from your arteries.
This is true, yeah. Okay, with nothing else, we will officially adjourn.
What happens when we get done early?
Talk about chaps.
Bunch of junk.